Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome you all for this new video. Today we are going to understand 4 defects of conditioned souls. So here there are two words. One is 4 defects and another is conditioned souls. So let us first understand what is a conditioned soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamaivamsho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatana Manah Shashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati Mamaivamsho Mama Eva Amshaha. So Krishna says that the living entities, Jiva Bhuta, or the souls within this material world, they are all my parts and parcels. Mama Eva Amshaha Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. And Krishna also says that they are all eternal. Sanatana. Sanatana means eternal, which is having no beginning and no end, which is existing always. But Manaha Shashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. So these souls which are within this material world, so they have got senses. Manaha Shashtani Indriyani. So 6 senses Krishna is saying. 5 senses are the knowledge acquiring senses, and mind is also considered as one of the sense or the 6th sense. The 5 senses are eyes, ears, nose, skin and tongue. So these are the 5 indriyas or 5 senses by which we acquire knowledge. So these are called jnana indriyas. So manaha shashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So Krishna is saying that the living entities or the souls within this material world who have got these senses, so they are struggling very hard for existence within this material world. So the living entities which are present within this material world, they are all called conditioned souls. So conditioned means, so they are conditioned by birth, death, old age and disease. So the souls within this material world, they have got a material body, and that body undergoes birth, it undergoes death, and it undergoes old age, and it undergoes disease. So these are the conditions which are put on the souls within this material world. So therefore they are called conditioned souls. So does that mean that there are some souls which are not under these kind of conditions? Yes. So Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that there are other type of living entities or other type of souls who are present in the spiritual world and who are not bound by these kind of conditions. So they are called liberated souls. Now, these conditioned souls who are present within this material world, they have got different types of bodies, and that bodies have been described as 84 lakh types of bodies. We get this information from Padma Purana. Jalaja Navalakshani Sthavara Lakshavimshati Krumayo Rudra Sankhakaha Pakshinam Dashalakshanam Chaturlakshani Manava. So like this, there is a description of different types of bodies. So in water or aquatics, it is said that there are 9 lakhs of species. So 9 lakh types of bodies are present within the water. And Sthavara Lakshavimshati. Sthavara means which cannot move. So trees, plants, creepers, they all come under this category. So they are 20 lakh. Similarly, there are other forms of life, which is animals and birds and insects and human beings. So there is a different numbers for all these different categories. All put together, it becomes 84 lakh species. So the soul is acquiring one of these bodies life after life. Because the soul is eternal, as soon as it gives up one body, it acquires another body based on the way it has acted in the previous life or in the previous body. So karmana daiva netrena jantuhu deha upapatyaye. So based on his karma, based on his actions, daiva netrena, by superior arrangement, the soul gets the next body. Jantuhu deha upapatyaye. Soul is also called as jantu, and deha upapatyaye, it accepts or it acquires another body. So these conditioned souls which are struggling within this material world with birth, death, old age and disease, and many other miseries. So these conditioned souls, they have got four kinds of defects. So generally, sometimes we see defective piece. Defective piece means it is intention was to produce a good one, but somehow there are some defects in that. So this way, the living entities also have got four kinds of defects, and they acquire those defects when they misuse their independence. Every soul has got independence, and when they misuse that independence, they become conditioned, and immediately they acquire these four kind of defects. So those defects are imperfect senses. This is one of the defect. In Sanskrit, it is called, the four defects are called Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, and Karana Apatava. So the first one is Brahma. Brahma means getting illusioned. So the conditioned souls, they have got a tendency to get illusioned. So get illusioned means seeing things different than what actually they are. So that is called illusion. One of the example of illusion is we see a rope and sometimes we consider it as a snake. So this is an example of illusion. Another example of illusion is if you are traveling on the road when a sunny day, uh, sometimes you see that there is a water on the road, but actually it is not water. There is a heat wave which are generated from the earth, and when you look at it from a distance, it appears like as if there is water. This phenomenon is observed even in the desert. Mostly it is observed in the desert. Even on the during a hot sun, you can even observe it on a normal road also. So this is also another example of illusion, where we see things which are not actually the way it is. So this is called illusion or Brahma. So this is one of the defect of the conditioned souls. And the second defect is Pramada. Pramada means committing mistakes. So committing mistakes. So everybody, all of us, we have got experience that in our life, at some point of time, we have committed some kind of mistakes. So conditioned souls have got this defect of committing mistakes. Even big personalities, big politicians, big celebrities, scientists, even they commit mistakes. Nobody is immune to committing mistakes. So this is one of the defects of a conditioned soul. And the third defect is Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa means cheating propensity. So the conditioned souls, they have got a tendency to cheat. So this also we have got experience. Many people are caught in the exam cheating, means copying, and we see a lot of scandals every now and then, every other day we get a scandal coming up by the politicians or by the government officers. And sometimes we also hear a husband cheated her wife, or wife cheated her husband, or in the business also we see two partners, one of the partners, he cheated him. We get lot of information, lot of news about how people are cheating. So this is another defect. This is another defect of the conditioned soul. And the fourth defect is Karana Apatava. Karana Apatava means the conditioned souls, their senses are imperfect. Imperfect senses. Karana means sense. Apatava means imperfect. So imperfect senses is one more defect of the conditioned souls. This we can understand by our own example. We have got these eyes, but these eyes are not called as a perfect eyes, because we cannot see everything from these eyes. We cannot see very small things from these eyes, and we cannot see something which is very far. Something which is very far, the object is present, but I cannot see. Similarly, if something is very small, very tiny, just like germs and microbes, so they are present, but my eyes cannot see. We may have to use some other instruments to see the smallest uh, particles, and also to the which are very far, just like there are so many stars and planets are there. By the naked eye, we cannot see, but I can use an telescope and I can see that, oh, there is such a vast, such a huge planet or such a star, big star there. Similarly, by using a microscope, I can see that there are so many small bacteria, viruses, germs, but to my normal eye, they are not visible. So our senses in themselves are not perfect. So this is the fourth defect of conditioned souls. So we understood that the conditioned souls, they have got four kind of defects. One is getting illusion, second is committing mistake, third is propensity to cheat, and fourth is committing mistakes. Now, the main thing what we have to understand from this, the four defects of conditioned soul, is that somebody who is having these kind of four defects cannot give a perfect knowledge. So somebody who is having a propensity to commit mistakes, whose senses are imperfect, who gets illusioned, and who has a tendency to cheat, he cannot give us perfect knowledge. So if we have to get perfect knowledge, we have to get it from a source or a person who is free from these four kind of defects. So all of us, we want to know things as they are. So we want to know God. We want to know who am I? What is this world? Why am I existing? So all these questions, philosophical understanding, or what is truth, what is reality. If we want to understand these things, then we cannot understand these subject matters from a conditioned soul. We have to understand it from a liberated soul, or we have to understand it from a perfect source. So, where can I get a perfect source or a perfect person from whom I can acquire a perfect knowledge? Vedas are considered as apaurusheya, or they are not man made, they are created by God Himself. And God is all perfect. There cannot be any defect in God. If there is a defect in God, then he cannot be called as God. If somebody has to be there as a God or the supreme person, then he must be a perfect person, and the knowledge received from him also has to be perfect. So the Vedas are called as the perfect knowledge, and whatever knowledge is given in the Vedas, it is free from these four kind of defects. So we get perfect knowledge from the Vedic literatures, from the Vedas, from the Upanishads, from the Puranas, and Bhagavad Gita. So these are the sources from where we can get perfect knowledge. And in the coming videos, we will understand the knowledge given in different Vedic literatures. Hare Krishna.